Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and I'm about to play a 10-0 snap session whilst being sweated by a current student of mine, Peter, who plays mostly on Bovada. He's a 10-0 player too, so hopefully these games will be somewhat similar to what he's used to and of some use to him and you guys as we play for the next half an hour to 45 minutes. The next voice you'll hear will be mine with Peter, and we'll be ready to start the session. Play. So I think what we'll do is I'm just going to play, and anything that you want to comment on, just comment. And if there's anything you want to go back and look at, just give it a shout, and we'll just sit out at the tables and go back and find the hand.
Okay. Yeah, I was doing a program for Visual Basic, so it looks like a Windows application now instead of just a console screen.
And that's for what? Sorry.
That's a expected value calculator.
All right. You want to share that to Reddit when you get around to it?
Yeah.
But I have no idea what to do here. Sarah from G clearly know nothing about her. I'm going to call once, I think. And I think people will see the ace king here a decent amount and then just give up when they get called. I don't think they've got ace king, ace queen, that type of thing. I don't think they're necessarily just going to barrel off. So I think you can play quite exploitively and just check. Just check fold the turn. I mean, who knows? Sarah and G might be an absolute maniac, but judging by the sizing that they're using, the fact that we're fully stacked before the start of the hand, I'm just going to give them credit for having me beaten fold there. It's not very often you see people just barreling off with ace king in that spot in these games. I mean, I'm not saying it's not happening, but I don't think it's happening enough for to just like check call down with two jacks there. They were just burning money, calling triple batter bluffs in that spot.
Yeah, I got stuck in a situation just like that. The guy had pocket kings. Same situation.
And you just check call it off, and they just nearly always got it.
Yep.
Absolutely tons of value here. There's no sense in not raising. The other hand, really, if we're behind, I think it's probably going to be to pocket threes. Do not like that nine as much, very much. Well, again, I still think we can get called by draws, two pairs. Obviously, king queen's got there. Some of the straights, queen eight, I guess, but it's not going to stop me betting, and I'm probably going to call it off because you can have lots and lots of combo draws. You can now pick up a pair to go with like a combo draw. So it's one of those spots where you're not super stoked to get the money because the nine isn't great because he does improve with the nine sometimes. But that said, so there's still way too much value there to not bet and to try and like slow down a little bit. Something I haven't been doing lately is 3-betting very much from the button. I was 3-betting a ton from the button, then I started watching some stuff from, is it Matthew Jander he's called? And he was saying we should be 3-betting a lot less from the button, the cut-off, and like loads throughout our position. And since I started doing it, I've been finding myself having a bit more success, a bit more fun, and just being able to like keep pots small in position. Like, spots like this happen way more often than we 3-bet. And then I don't know. I just think I prefer playing under this dynamic of calling with position, and then just looking to try and pick up pots later on when people show a bit of weakness, or sometimes who knows make a good hand that people don't expect you to have because most people wouldn't expect you to 3-bet in this spot. I've actually quite liked it. I've liked the change of dynamic that it gives. And just c-bet with my 8s here because I'm happy just to pick the pot up. If I check, I don't want to get down a check guessing line like a check call. I don't think we can do. I think if we do check, we encourage him to stab too often with hands that aren't as good as 2-8s and just makes us fold. So that is a bet there specifically designed just to like collect any dead money into the pot and not encourage action that I can't handle. If we get raised, I'm just easily going to fold. I am kind of, I'm not even turning 8s into a bluff because I don't think any better hands fold. But I still think betting there and just collecting the pot is going to be a better option than just like check folding constantly, which is the only other thing we can do. I think check calling there would just be close to horrendous. So then we're faced with check fold or try and pick the pot up. And as it was like King Queen X, it hits our range pretty hard for 3-betting. So I don't mind c-betting there. Even though I know I'm not making a better hand fold, I'm happy just to make him fold and pick the pot up. These are spots I haven't been c-betting too much. And boards like this where we have a little bit of equity but not enough. If we had 9-jack with a jack of hearts, I'm maybe more tempted to take a stab, but I think we get floated a lot on these boards. And it would like single hearts probably calling any single heart of an 8.
Would you probe
Isn't
the turn?
folding. Sorry?
Would you try and probe the
Yeah,
turn?
now I'm going to
since
bet the
he's
turn
checking?
now because I know you're going to try and get him to fold pairs. I'm going to bet twice now. Just to try and get him to fold pairs that aren't a heart.
There you go.
I'm going to 3-bet with the ace-6. At least we know we're bluffing. When you 3-bet with the ace-queen and you get 4-bet, it's awkward. When we 3-bet with the ace-6 suited and we get a 4-bet, we know we're bluffing, so we have no problem making the fold. And I think it's better than just calling. But with ace-queen, if he's opening like lots of weaker aces, we can actually get him to do our value betting for us when we both flop an ace. Whereas with ace-6, if we flop an ace and he keeps betting, it's not as easy for us to be useful. I'm aware that I do a few things that aren't exactly textbook these days, but I think it's all about wherever your style is or whatever makes you feel comfortable when you're playing, and just getting used to playing that style and then getting used to how people react to your style. If you have a style that is unorthodox, but you're good at understanding how people react to your unorthodox style, you can actually make it work really well. But if you have like play some unorthodox hands in some unorthodox ways and then play badly post flop, then obviously it's really not very good.
Sarah from G had $20 like 10 seconds ago.
Sarah from G could be playing like tons of tables. If you've got 3 tables, they'll have 3 different stacks, won't they?
Okay.
I'm going to go for a check raise here because I like my equity. And I think we can encourage some stabs here, then just get them to fold. Or we can maybe get someone to just like stab with a pair they would fold if I bet. Once it checks back, I'm just going to start value betting. Yeah, Sarah from G, you might see her again. She might pop up in a minute with 20 again, or she might just be one table and you're right, she might just have been staring and go $20 again.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to presume, now we've seen that Sarah from G is a regular. So we're just going to put a red tag on. So when you play on Bovada, are you need to remind you, are you a zone player or are you a regular table player?
Regular.
So you're not interested in zone at all?
No. I don't know. I think zone people are just waiting around for premium hands and only playing that.
You think so? Is it that tight, do you think?
Yeah.
And what limit's that at?
5 and L, 10 and L.
Because I have heard that it's really quite fishy. I mean, I'm still not a fan of it because completely anonymous speed poker, I think you really are just playing every single hand in a vacuum, and it's not something I enjoy doing. But I have heard that it is still pretty soft, like full of like just really bad players that buy you for like 20, 30, 40 blinds or whatever, and just stack off the minute they hit top pair. But I haven't seen 5 in our zone played for a long time. That's kind of tempting to call that, but we're not gonna.
Oh man, $2.
It's 19 blinds though, isn't it? You're right. In terms of like, does $2 change my life? It doesn't. But we need to be thinking in terms of big blinds, and the best we can be there is like maybe a 60-40 favourite. Quite often, we're going to be flipping or worse. So when you take rake considerations into it too, I think it ends up being definitely a negative EV call. Again, here we're just going to. Are we going to 3-bet out? No, we're just going to let the A7 off go actually. These are spots lots of people seem to have plenty of problems with. You're donked into on these boards. I think when he chooses that sizing, I'm just going to fold. If he bets smaller, I would consider raising or calling. But when he goes that big, I think it's usually going to be for value. Probably much less inclined to fold than the guys who bet much smaller. Like sometimes people just betting to find out where they're at and they'll bet like half pot or something
Okay.
and fall to raises. But I think when people donk for 3/4 pot or more, it's usually with a value hand. And here I'm just going to not fold. I'm just going to try to keep any bluffs he has. I don't think he has many bluffs, but any bluffs he does have in, going to keep him because he's the stack to pot ratio now is just whatever it is. And now I am just going to put him in because he's got like no money left. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
It's much easier to face donk bets than people with 30 blinds when you flop top pair. It's got to be said. There's not a lot of complications in that situation. I wasn't hopeful the games were going to be too good because when I checked the lobby, the average pot was like 8 blinds, and
God, you're running hot tonight.
I am at the moment, but it can soon change. If we're in hot, we'll get 3-bet now, won't we? That's what will happen.
That'd be awesome.
Let's see if I can cut shot over on table 2. I don't mind check raising sometimes in these spots, but I think there's too much value we can get on that board texture. I do like to check raise because I like Goodwin to stab, get sugar in with the call, and then we can raise 2 people and hopefully get tons of action. But, I think that board's just too wet, and if it checks through, there's tons of turn cards that I'm just going to hate. Although we did have backdoor diamonds, which just protects a little bit against getting stuck out on by flushes. So how's your game been going lately? Been winning?
Yeah, been very good lately. I was posting online that I went to the casino the other day and lost a straight flush draw because I folded, and I would have hit if I would have called when I had 3-1 pot odds.
It's a straight flush draw. Did you have any overcards or anything to go with it?
There was 2 10s on the flop and a queen, and I had Jack 9 of hearts. And I needed.
So it's a paired board then?
Yeah, paired board. Paired board, but I still was getting 3-1 odds to call because I only had $60 left and only bought in for 100. So.
You only bought it for 50 blinds at.
Yeah.
1-2. I think I just shoveled it in there.
I know.
You gotta just shoveled it in, but I wouldn't have bought in for half a load in the first place, unless I thought it was a tough table. Then maybe I'd just go and short stack it, and so then if you short stack a tough table, I guess live, you're going to avoid being put in too many tough spots, I guess.
Yeah.
But then again, I probably wouldn't want to go and sit at a tough table live in the first place. It's bad enough sitting tough tables online. Last thing I want to do is go to the casino and sit at a tough table as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll notice on the table 2 while I was chatting there, we raised a half pot donk bet. That's just what I was talking about earlier. When I see people donk into me a full pot, I would usually respect it. When I see someone donk half pot, we just raise it, he's snap folded. I think there's a significant difference in how we can react to certain sizes, especially with donk. Well, any kind of out of position lead into us, whether it's a C bet, whether it's a donk bet, whatever it is. I do believe that out of position, people will usually give the strength of the hand away with their bet sizes much more than they will in position. So if you're ever playing against me and you want to induce some spew from me, leading into me with weak looking bets when I'm in position is probably going to be a good way to do it. Because I just firmly believe it's a size intel that lots and lots of players have. Now, yeah, against some people it won't work because they will maybe bet weak with their strong hands, but I think it's a pretty reliable size intel in the micro stakes.
Mm.
I think bet sizing from players when they're out of position is usually a pretty reliable indication of what's going on. I'm just going to give up here and just hope our 5's good. It wasn't. Never mind. I'm not sure. I don't think our 5's are good on this table, but they might be. If he checks down, I think we'll probably win. It's hard though. It's hard for 2 players to miss the ball that's like all over the map like that.
Right. And that's where you just want to play your hand face up, right, and just check.
Yeah, well, it's just 2 5s. They're set mining anyway, mostly.
Right.
And on a board like that, where there's like 4 over cards and just all sorts of like possible 2-pair combos and things out, I'm not too fussed. If it was a couple of pips closer, this is like a Jack 9 suited or a 9-7 suited or something like that, I might be more tempted to play a pot with 50. But I think the gap's just a bit. I don't like huge gaps in my suited cards. I am a bit of a suited card junkie because of the way he just gives us lots more ways to be aggressive post swaps. I do like suited cards, but not as gapped as that. So what are you working on in your game right now? What's the key thing you're trying to really focus
on? Just folding to typical aggression when I have like that situation where we had earlier, where you had a pocket pair and they were betting heavy into you, and you just let it go, like something like that. Like I have to really take a step back and do what you did and just let it go, because most of the time they have it. So
it took me a long time to get anywhere near doing that. I was one of the biggest payoff wizards around. I really was. I just used to get stunned and you just wait to check call mode, and it just takes a long time for it to sink in that when it checks down and the pot's small, you always win, and when it goes 3 barrels, you nearly always lose. Which is kind of the way it is. I think we can always check call 1 barrel. But I think once people start getting into double and triple barreling in three bet pots at these stakes, I'm not saying that's how it is at 50 nil or 100 nil or 200 nil. Shoot's very different there. But at these stakes where we're playing, where we are mostly dealing with weak, tight, or loose passive opponents, I think paying off in 3-bet pots is just like a medium pair, which is all Jacks is really. It's not going to do as many favours, I don't think, in the long term, unless we have a dead read on somebody. There are some players that I would pay off against. It is a decent flop. It's a good flop in terms of it misses all of his high cards, so I think we can definitely float here, and we have tons of backdoor equity. He's tempted to raise just to get him off like ace king, ace queen, etc. But again, I think you just check them on the turn. So I'm going to float here, assume he's going to check ace king, ace queen, all that on the turn, and only continue with his big pairs.
Ooh.
And that is a very interesting turn card. Doesn't
Okay.
improve our straight draws at all, but it does improve us in a lot of ways.
Time it for a second here. Let's see if he goes all in.
You're going to use your tool there, yeah?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So, what do you have? How much outs percentage do you think you have?
Well, if we're behind, we have 9 flush outs and 3 good sharps, don't we? There's 12 outs if we think we're behind.
I think you're behind. You're positive.
I'm just going to bet now. Just giving you a chance to use your.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bet big and call it off if he shoves. It would be a bad play for him if he had to hand like 2 aces and you check shove. Would be a lovely line to take. Because I'm usually going to stab after I call on the board that try. So yeah.
Ooh.
I think we would be clean to have to call. We're getting 3-1. That's why I bet big. I bet big so I could call, but I think he's probably played his hand really quite well here. We're going to need to suck out, I would imagine. And we didn't. No, fair play to him.
Okay.
Fair play to him there. Yeah. I think that's a really nice line. When you have the overpair, maybe I think 10s is maybe a little too, like, you're letting perhaps too many free cards come off. Allow me to check back too often. But yeah, I think you've got an overpair there. Do enjoy the c-bet dry board check raise turns, because if you get peeled on a dry board, one of 2 things is usually happening. Either you get floated light, so therefore you want to encourage your raises floated you to then carry on with the float and stab the turn, or they've got a made hand, and when you check, they're going to put you on ace king usually and bet to protect against ace king. So either way, I think when you get called on a dry board in a 3-bet pot, there's a very good chance your opponent's going to bet the turn if you check to them. So I actually like his line a lot. I was a bit worried that's what was happening, but we had so much equity there. That's why I bombed it. If I was in bet fold mode, I could have bet a lot smaller. But I bombed it because I've always kind of thought I was going to call it off anyway. Might be spewed there, but we did have 12. We did have 12 outs against him, which is what, 25% equity. So we probably, in fact, going back and looking at it, it might actually be a bad call. I think we're only getting, no, we're getting around 3-1 work, so it's probably fine. We were ready to call 6-2 in 17, didn't we? So it's close. But probably, I don't know. It's close in terms of once he bets, we think calling it off, we probably have to do it. But I think that bet on the turn is going to show enough profit. I think he's going to fold enough at the time with hands like Ace King, Ace Queen, Ace Jack, just random bluffs that he's had. So I mean, yeah, I'm more than happy that I played it. It didn't work out well. I'm not fussed because I think I played it fine. Once I decided to float the flop, I think I played it fine. I think this is probably behind here, but we can't really afford to min raise overpairing a good shot. Problem here with not folding is he's probably just going to pop the turn and we're going to check fold on the turn. I don't just want to fold to. I just want to fold to one bet, but usually people min raise the flop and bomb the turn, yeah, and then we're going to fold to the bomb. Because I just don't see what we beat here. I'm going to presume he's just flopped a set or something, or now got a full house or some kind of overpair. And again, they're the kind of folds that I see lots of players are just incapable of making. And I think paying off in these games is the absolute nut low. I kind of wanted to fold the flop, but because it was a min raise, it's kind of bad to fold to a min raise. I think we are in danger of being too exploitable if we're always folding, even though it's a weak overpair. If we're always just folding an overpair to a flop min raises, I think that's going to be a leak. But like I said, you kind of know the bet's going on at times, so you almost are burning money. But I guess if we suck out, we always stack him as well. If we hit an 8 or we hit a straight, I guess we're always going to sack. So if someone's bad enough to just min raise a flop with a nutted type of hand, they're usually going to be bad enough to stack off on the turn when we outdraw them. So just kind of guess you just banking on your implied odds there. Our direct odds aren't that great, but our implied odds, should we hit our 6 outer, are probably going to be alright, I would guess.
Yeah.
We're doing this a lot lately. Delayed C bets too when I have absolutely nothing. It's I think what it helps me with is it helps cut out the frustration with you, especially when I think I've talked about in a couple of videos now. I think lots of players are playing much more weak, tight days and checking strong hands and pop controlling strong hands a lot. So I think usually if we're C betting too much air, we're just kind of turning a weakness of the field into a strength. So I tend to not C bet flops when I've got complete air balls, and I will go for delayed double barrels if they check the flop, then check the turn of that type of board. Then I will just try and barrel them off the hand, whatever it is when I've got nothing. But I like to see the 2 checks before I do it. And by the way, ever since you said I'm running hot, I've stopped running hot. So
Yeah.
I think they call that riding the broom, don't they? Did you ride the broom on me there? I think it's an American term, isn't it? I don't know what it means. I just heard people used to say it in the old cash games. When people used to comment on how good somebody was running, and then they started running shit straight after it. I think it's pretty much a superstition thing. As you can see, try to stick to the not 3-betting too much when I'm in position with these sort of things. I don't mind people coming in the pot behind me. Don't mind keeping the pot smaller when I've got position. And again here, this is a value bet because I think he can check call with Ace Queen, Ace Jack. Things like that. I think you can check call with worse for sure. And we can also just get him, if he doesn't, we can get him to fold his equity share, which is going to be around 25% if he has 2 cards that are an ace and a king. And now we can just start value betting. Again, we're going to keep it quite small because we don't think he's got very much. If he has built us with like a king high or an ace high, we're obviously in grand shape now. Then we're going to value bet the river and fold, I think.
Do you think he's just trying to be sneaky by check calling all the time?
I don't know what I think. I don't know a lot about him, to be honest with you. I just think checking back top pair, top kicker here would be too weak. I don't think he's got that much he can call us with, but I think we're just ahead plenty enough where I think not betting there is just too weak, and we just comes up with the Hiss Jack. So there we go. We would definitely value betting the flop.
Okay.
And that just goes to show the point that we made just a minute ago about not wanting to bluff with air very often, because that's what happens. People just check calling those types of hands, and when I'm betting into them with air, I'm just doing their job for them. Wow. I think I just have to be beat by somebody who's got this tag. Yellow tag is my it means weak tight. I'm very tempted to just fold here. We've improved to 2 pair, but if a weak tight player's value betting here, I have a hard time seeing what we beat. Really do. I'm just going to fold. I'm just very confident. Some players I wouldn't fold to there, but somebody with a yellow tag is just. Well, no point if we have tags on players and we have reads on players, and then we just ignore them reads. What's the point in tagging people? The yellow tag really is it's an indication that somebody is incredibly weak tag. So yeah, he may have worse 2 pairs there, but I just think he'd check call with them. I just think he's just he's either had a hand from the off and he's just betting to me checking back, or more likely he probably just had a jack kick and just made it straight on the river.
Right.
And I could get berated for that fold. But no, you've got to stick with your reads. If your reads are some guy is really weak tight, then let's not be paying weak tight players off. Because 2 pair is just a bluff catcher there against that type of player. So if it's a bluff catcher against somebody who we don't think bluffs very often, then we don't want to bluff catch them too much. I guess you would have called there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, either he hit an ace or he did hit the straight. I mean,
I say if he just has an ace there, maybe he has river 2 pair with the ace. I genuinely think that player type. I don't know tons about him, but again, we can see him here just like limping behind rather than isolating. He is weak tight, so if he is, should have just checked there. If he is weak tight, I'm just not going to expect him to just randomly start bluffing, because if he was the type of player to randomly start bluffing, I'd know about it and he wouldn't have that tag. So you just got to go with your tags. I just hope this guy keeps min betting and we can just keep calling him. Oh, now we can just raise him. Now we can just shove. Probably going to fold, I'd expect. Min bet, check line. It's not exactly the strongest line you're ever going to see, is it? Usually going to get us some folds, I would imagine. There's one note on this case there. 30/5, check call, donk, misdraw. So again, someone who's passive, but is capable of donking to bluff on rivers. I'm just going to fold again. We don't beat very much. He's bluffing, congratulations. But again, someone whose stats are 30/5, they're not the sort of player I typically expect to be bluffing too much or playing aggressively. And again, I used to be a massive payoff wizard. Now I'm probably the complete opposite. And now I'm maybe overfold. Then I still think overfolding is usually going to. I don't want to say make us money, because you can't make us money, but it's going to have a better influence on our green line long term than paying off is. If we either call too much or fold too much, I think folding too much is definitely if we're not going to be calling and folding at good frequencies, I think leaning towards overfolding is going to be better than leaning towards overcalling. Although obviously we don't want to be doing either. If we are going to have a leak, I think the folding too much is certainly the less damaging leak to have. Check call here, I think. I hope he just goes check. But you can have too many. You have some queens in his range, but a lot of them you imagine would 4-bet button versus blind. maybe you can have things like king, queen, queen, jack, occasionally ace, queen, maybe, but that's an interesting turn.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm going to fold if he beats it. We can split bet in. And just bet half pot. Now I'm really tempted because he bet much larger portion of the pot on the flop than he has on the turn. So again, this is one of those bet sizing tell things. Is he going with thin value now with the queen? Can I make him fold a queen if I raise? I don't want to call because I think I'm behind. It's either fold or turn my hand into a bluff and try and make him fold one pair. And we get into a video because we're having a bit of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll go for the more aggro option. And we are specifically trying to make him. I mean, I think he might just be bluffing there. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's probably looks like he's going for a little bit of thin value to me with that sizing. Now the thin value on a bluff. But I think against his overall range, he's probably not going to be calling too often when he uses that size. I mean, I could be wrong because I don't know that play from anybody. But again, if I'm going to talk about trying to exploit bet sizing tells of the population, then not actually in the video going ahead and trying to demonstrate what I'm talking about, it makes me a pretty shitty video maker, I think. And again, against this guy, I'm not going to be looking to play a big pot unless I make a set.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not a good turn card. Wow. What to do here? So we we raised this guy 3-bet, and then it's gone bet raise. I'm going to fold and watch this one out, I think. I mean, that 3-bet's clean nonsense, but it could just be an awful player doing that with top set, for all we know.
Yeah, I think when they call you after you 3-bet pre, they're calling with 7s plus or ace queen plus.
I'm just going to fold and see how it plays out, I think. I see he's just gone for a big donk on the turn all of a sudden. I think Two Stars probably got the nuts here virtually.
Yeah.
Hopefully this guy calls and we get to see. No, we don't.
Damn.
But he goes min bet call, and then just like donk big on the turn. I mean, it's what bad players do with good hands. They do something stupid on the flop to try and like project weakness. And then their arse always falls out on the turn and they start just bombing money into the pot because they're scared of getting sucked out on. Or whatever. So I think we made quite a good fold there. We might not have done, who knows? The guy might just be an absolute raging moron. But I think we made a good fold. Feels like we did.
That's 4 pocket aces?
Yeah, and I made a load of money this session, haven't I? I'm only down $3 at the end of the world.
Hopefully you get some cash on this.
We might do Simon, whatever he's called. Might just 3-bet us. Nope. That's the fourth lot of aces we've made almost no money with.
Wow.
Which is a shame, because if everyone looks in their poker database and see which hands you make all your profit with, it's pretty much exclusively aces, kings, queens, that type of thing, where nearly all of your profit comes from. So you get aces 4 times in a session and you don't make any money, it's going to be quite hard for you to book a winning session, I would imagine. Not impossible, but certainly it doesn't make life easy when we get the aces 4 times and make no money with them. We're just going to fold into this squeeze. It's on the large side. If it was more, if it was like 9 or 10 blinds, I would probably just try and set mine, but don't really want to put another $1.05 in just to set mine. I'm not a huge fan of set mining out of position anyway, but the fact it might go multi-way because the guy who called the initial raise makes me more inclined to 3-bet here because this guy's the regular. Probably got a pretty wide range over the button. Get a ton of folds. I don't really like calling with like Jack Queen off. It's not a nice hand to play out of position without the initiative.
Is he going to usually fold to your 3-bet?
I think he folds a decent amount. I mean, I don't know him well enough, but it's some kind of like typical, from what I know of him, from what I remember, he usually plays 30, so and I don't know like loads about him, but if I'm just going to assume he's a typical regular, he's opening anywhere from like 40 to 65, 70% on the button, with a 4-3 bet of at least 50%, which most have at least that, then yeah, I think we're going to get enough folds.
Okay.
And I'd much rather just, against a good player, I'd much rather just take the issue pre-flop 3-bet him and just to try and end the pot early than I would call him because, oh, yeah, Jack Queen's ahead of his range. But then you miss most flops, you end up check folding. I'd rather just take the initiative against him, hope he folds. If he doesn't, well then, just hope we somehow make some equity on the flop.
And if you don't?
And if we don't, I'll probably just give up.
Okay.
Most of the time because he's a good player. You know, the fact he's already called is what these types of players do when they do stay in the pot. They usually try and do something to win it. So yeah, once he calls once, I'm out of position. Depends if I flop like a 10-9x, I'll just go for it. But if I flop nothing, maybe it come down to ace or king high dry, I'd make a stand. But yeah, well, I wouldn't be going out of my way to try and like desperately outplay it. I'm gonna call here too. I think this Robert Nadu slightly protects us against Fishpoke being able to bluff too much with his c-bets because once he cold calls, it kind of hamstrings him to. He can't c-bet bluff anywhere near as much as he can if I call and he folds. His c-bet bluffing range has to be much tighter because he has to know he's not getting many folds from Robert. So once he checks, I'm going to presume that the king's the best hand. I expect him to fold. Maybe we might get some action from Robert. Who knows?
You're obviously going to call him for another 31 cents, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to fold to Robert. Kind of don't mind if he calls. If he raises, I'm just going to fold. Well, essentially, I'm just assuming he's out. Once he doesn't see bet, I'm presuming he's check folding all the time. So now I'm just value him versus Robert. I guess I could just have put him in, but never mind. And who knows? Robert might just look us up here with ace high or some random pocket pair.
Interesting flop.
It certainly is. I'll be sticking around for 2 streets, I think. Again, if I had nothing here, I would probably check raise versus his bet because it looks weak. Maybe he just keeps stabbing like half pot on like weak looking bets. I'm probably just going to call him down. If he bombs at any point, give me a bit more to think about. And he has improved his sizing on the tip. I mean, still not going to fold. And then if he bombs the river, I guess I'm going to fold. Because there's ways he can have a king and get to the river this way. Obviously, any king high flush draws, hearts are going to probably play similarly. Yeah, I'm just going to fold. I'm not going to bluff catch getting like that's like a pot size bet pre-rake. So yeah, we're just going to fold at this point and not worry too much about it. I mean, there's a good chance he's just river me there because there's lots of ways he can have a king. Not lots of ways, but there's enough ways. The way the hand's gone down, he like stabbed the flop weak. Then he's picked up some backdoor equity on the turn, picked up like a flush draw, king high flush draw or something. Then when I check the river, it's really obvious I just got like a one pair type hand. So if he does have a king, he can value bet very confidently and just hope I call with whatever I've been calling him with previously. If he doesn't, it's a good bluff card because again my range is pretty much face up as just one pair there, one pair of draws, I guess. Check call here, just because it's going to be hard to get value from 7x, 5x, but he might just randomly stab when I check. I don't think the king's going to fit him very often, but I think his range for stabbing when I check is going to be much wider than his range for calling. And again, same reason here. He could have maybe gone for like a 60 or 70 cent bet to try and get a call from 7x, but I don't mind bluff catching there. We've got a decent hand to bluff catch with. What did he have? So maybe that's one of the one hands we could have got some value from on the bit, but never mind. So is there anything that you've seen in these games that you think you can that you haven't noticed in the games you play? Is there a major difference between 10 Snap and 10 Bovada?
Um, I don't play Snap that often to really see that much of a difference.
Because actually, when I've been watching people on Bovada, there seems to be a plethora of loose, passive bad players. Players putting at 60 and 70 V pips. I'd love to play on Bovada, basically. But do you think? I guess the question I'm asking is, as a learning tool, as a poker improvement tool, would you think you'd improve quicker playing these games, or do you think just playing in really bad games on Bovada doesn't hinder the learning curve? Because it's a debate I've been having quite a lot. People seem to think that you have to play in tougher games to improve. I disagree personally. I think we can improve at poker just as much by not being constantly forced to play against good players as as we can when we're playing in tough games. Do you think? So I guess I'm really labouring over this question, but I guess the question I'm asking is, okay, I'm labouring a lot, I'm getting a headache now as well. The question I'm asking is, do you feel that playing on a softer side hinders your learning, or do you think it actually doesn't hinder it at all?
I think playing on a softer site grows your learning because if you play on a reg site where everybody's tight and aggressive, you're not really getting a chance to grow. You're more like withheld because you're always thinking that you're losing all the time and you don't really get a chance to really see what's going on.
I agree with that. I think learning how to win and having a mindset where you go into sessions expecting to win rather than hoping to win.
Right.
I think it certainly helps. It helps a lot in terms of your motivation to play. It helps a lot in terms of confidence is a huge thing in poker. And if you're constantly feel like you're playing tough games against players that are equally as good or better than you, I think you've hit the nail right on the head there. I think playing on tougher sides does hold lots of players back. Because I mean, there's people in the group who I'm not going to mention names because there's no reason to, but who are finding it hard in softish games, but they're finding it hard, and they never have a chance to get confidence because they find it really hard to string, more than one or two winning sessions together. So they're constantly just battling their own demons, they're battling their own self confidence.
Yep.
And then I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, because I refuse to play on America's Card Room just because there's so many regs on there and they're so aggressive towards me, and it's like I can't even. Why? Like, why am I wasting my time?
Yeah, I mean, again, poker needs to be fun as well. You need to enjoy it, and so, there are some people. Don't get me wrong. Some people who enjoy that side of it. They enjoy being tested. I personally don't. I enjoy just finding players that I'm better than and taking money from them. That's
Right.
kind of what I enjoy, and that's what poker should be about, in my opinion. I think the last 2 or 3 years, we've had people coming to poker more from like a gamer background, where gamers want to test themselves against the best and prove themselves to be the best. I think kind of what poker's all about's been lost on lots of like a new generation, because these guys who play all these online games, I don't know, like League of Legends, whatever else you can play, the shooting games that my kids are never off. Okay, what is it? Metal. I can't think what it's fucking called now, but they always thrash me on it. There's that gun shooting game in the army and all that stuff. Or when they're playing FIFA, and they always want to test them. My kids are always wanting to get to the next league up and striving to be as good as they can be and like be the best in their league or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of coming to poker now. So like the old-fashioned way of doing poker, which is always just find good games and beat them, it seems to be getting lost. And I find myself more and more like discussing this with people online, and I feel people think you're a bad player because you're actually game selected, which is just nonsense. If I'm playing a computer game, I want to play the best too. I want to prove I can beat the best. When I'm playing a game that has like direct financial implications on my life, I don't want to do that. I want to find the worst players I can find because I don't enjoy downswings. B, I do enjoy cashing out. C, I enjoy feeling like I'm doing something productive rather than just like paying tons and tons of rake for a really tiny bit rate.
Yep.
And I think that's something that's lost on a lot of players, and I think the whole new generation that are coming into poker are being brainwashed into thinking the only way to improve and to be good at poker is to constantly play players that are as good or better than you, and then strive to defeat them. But where does that end? Just say you do work really hard on your game, and you finally get yourself to be a 50-0 Zoom winner at 4 bigs 100. People don't settle for that. They're like, oh, now I need the next challenge. So they'll just go and start playing in another game they can't beat, and like work 6-9 months to defeat a game they previously couldn't beat, to then set themselves up to go and play in another game they can't beat again. And you just think, where does it end? When do you ever settle? And just say, you know what, I can make a decent amount of money at this level, and I'm just going to settle at this.
Yeah.
I just think you're constantly going to feel like you haven't achieved as much. I think people should just be able to relax and just enjoy poker for what it is, rather than just constantly be striving to like get to the next end boss or to complete a level or whatever. We're just going to call here against this guy because I don't think he's going to be 3-betting us light at all. I'm not remotely worried about backdoor flush draws or anything like that. And now we're just going to value bet and hope he's got ace queen.
I think he's completely given up.
I think he's either got pocket kings, pocket queens, or ace queen here. So I'm actually going to make a size he can bluff catch with those hands. I don't think he's got 2 pair very often. I don't think he's got sets unless he's got a set of aces. Maybe a set of 10s. But I think he checks back 10s a lot on the flop.
Ace jack, ace queen.
Ace jack, ace queen, pocket kings, pocket queens, that type of thing. That's why I bet like really quite small. I don't want him to fold the hands that I think he's got. I want him to be a side call with pocket kings here. Or maybe he could have bet even smaller. If he raises, I think we might have actually induced some spew, and I would have called. Let's see what he had. Yeah, pocket queens.
Wow.
So I'm surprised you actually see bet pocket queens there.
Twice.
No, he didn't. The turn went check, which is why
the turn went check?
Yeah, it's why I led him a bit, because I kind of thought once he checks the turn, I'm just always good. And I just don't want to check back again.
I thought I saw you fired twice.
I could be wrong, but we're going to end the session anyway now because the video's going long enough, so we'll go back and look at it at the end, but I'm pretty sure
that's fine.
That it went check on the turn. I'm going to call with this 7-jack because it's a rubbish hand. We've got a fish there in the blinds, we've got a donkey here that's open, so I'm more than happy to play a hand with a donkey, or somebody who thinks a donkey. Got a good shot, got a pair, it's not ideal, but he's bet small enough where I don't mind calling just once. And we do bink.
Huh. Are you going to value that? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to value bet, I'm going to over bet.
Yeah.
Just try to make it look like a missed diamond or something.
To just check on the river is scary for me.
Really? I just think he's going to have like some kind of like weak showdown value hand, or a bluff he's given up on. More often than that. So where was that? Ace king at? Yeah, turn went check, okay. Which is why I think I probably got max value on the river because you saw him tanking. He used beat.
Yep.
Looking back, maybe I'd rather bet him less, maybe 160, 150 or something, but we got the call through, so it's all good. Well, thank you very much for the sweat, sir. Definitely enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know when it's up.
Okay.
See you later, buddy.